Yes, I believe in God. I believe in God because my life has shown me that God exists. And what I mean by that is if you go outside and you just kind of look around, and I don't mean like look around the city because the city looks pretty sometimes it can be pretty messed up. But like if you look at like the places of nature in the world, like the way that things work, the way the universe is aligned, how intelligently designed things are. Um, I don't feel like that was left to chance. Like it could have been chance, but I'm putting my money on it being on purpose. Faith is being perfectly okay with it being 3 days away from the day that your rent is due and you being like $50 short. um, and you don't know how you're gonna get it, but you know you're gonna get it. That's faith. Like it's believing that it's believing in something. Like it's believing in something regardless of what things may appear to be at that point in time. It's a good thing for, especially for people who are without, I think, because that can be a crutch. Well, as far as Christianity goes, if you look at the text, the Bible itself, just from a practical standpoint, there's a lot of moral guidelines involved with that are, I think, pretty healthy for life overall too. Not just like, oh, I'm doing the right thing or I'm living the right way, but a lot of it is good common sense. That is in your like physical benefit to follow. For instance, like abstinence. That's the most likely way not to catch, a sexually transmitted disease. And then after abstinence, you throw in not fornicating or committing adultery, I should say. Then, that's also another way not to, catch a sexually transmitted disease. So just like there are little practical things like that make it worthwhile. It's okay to ask questions about it. Ultimately, like, in fact, from a Christian standpoint, that's what I should want. Like, I should want you to question, my faith or my views, simply because then I can explain them, and then you can see for yourself whether you feel like that's a route that you may want to take, or at least take something from it. Atheism. I think being atheist is as valid as being theist. It's. I mean, everyone comes to their own, I guess, opinion or belief or faith, whether that's faith in there being a God of some sort, whatever religion that may be, or whether there's faith in it not being one. And I feel like even if you don't believe in God, you're not necessarily atheist. You have some sort of religion. And what I mean by that is it's a way of life. It's a thing that you believe in. And that may not be a higher power or some sort of being. It may be a thing or a code of some sort that you have within yourself. But that's still a religion, in my opinion. And I think that's equally valid. God debates with atheists usually end up with atheists pointing out things in the Bible that either aren't there or are misconstrued heavily or misunderstood. Because the Bible, there's a lot of context involved with that. So like if you just dip in and grab something, of course it's gonna seem, wrong or immoral or whatever, or not make sense. But it's something that has to be taken in whole. So just with that being established, a debate with an atheist may be difficult if they don't actively read or have read the Bible and have a valid understanding of it. And by valid, I mean like they've tried hard to get the context of it and understand what's there. Just like on those grounds, like a debate with an atheist is usually difficult. And I feel like a lot of the times people kind of condemn or go against Christianity simply because of a lack of understanding for it. And also because of a lack of positive representation from our side. Yeah, definitely. I think it helps all sides. Because for the non-believer, it will either get them to potentially think of a different way of life, or it will add even more foundation for the way that they live. And it's always good also for Christians, just simply because to have those debates makes you have to know what you're talking about. And so you get you end up with a better relationship with your own religion simply because of that. And then there's always these claims that's like, oh, well, Christians have to do this, or, if you do this, this happens, or God said this, or blah, blah, blah. And as a Christian, if you can't automatically be like, no, that's not true because of this, then that almost forces you to go back and research and figure out if this person really knows what they're talking about. And that helps you as a Christian automatically. People avoid it because it's uncomfortable. By nature of the country we live in, it's uncomfortable. As far as like freedom of religion, it's not really. It's freedom of religion so long as I don't see it. I mean, think about it. Why would anybody want to talk about their religion in a country where we have this debate right now going on about building a mosque near Ground Zero? Anyone who knows about that with some sense is kind of like, yeah, I understand why people don't like to discuss or debate their religion, because people are very intolerant here. People don't are not culturally people are not cultured enough, or culturally sensitive. That's the term I'm looking for. People are not culturally sensitive, and that in itself can hurt people when they get into these intimate topics. College usually helps a lot for people who don't know, but I think it helps when the college itself is diverse. If the college is not diverse, I think it doesn't help much in the culture department. Unless you're like a cultural studies major specifically, really, yeah, education is about the best we can do. I guess that depends on a couple of things. If there's an alternative, what would change most is not the way I live, but I guess what I'm expecting after living. That's probably the most that would change, because I'm pretty happy with the way I am and the things that I'm working to change that have been reinforced by my religion. So even if I found out that there was no God, or that none of it really mattered so much as in what comes next, then that doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, I'm gonna from now on I can be a heathen and it's great and wonderful. I'm just I think that I live a very positive life because of my religion. And those moral grounds that I found there are still valid regardless. Like, the actual state, like, of being dead is not a fear of mine. The road to get there doesn't sound very fun, but if it's not a peaceful death. But, like, I'm not in fear of my life, I should say. Like, when I'm walking around, I'm perfectly fine. And I will say that comes from my faith in God. Like, it's a certain level of protection and covering that's there, that, and even, if for whatever reason it's decided that it's my time, then I'm okay with that too, because it's not really about me at that point, and there's more promise for me afterwards anyway.